Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to make a video that I have already in a certain way made in German, but as unfortunately YouTube doesn't give me the option to bring in several languages, I will simply do it again. I'm going to talk about tarot in a different way. I know there are a lot of discussions, or people try to stop those discussions, saying that we know where tarot comes from, that it was a game. But whoever goes with Major Arcana sees that maybe it's not simply a game, but that it is a little bit more serious. Or let's say that it is a lot about the game of life. And one of the discussions very often turn up is the one about death, and the death card doesn't mean death. I have my experiences. Everybody can see and choose that the way he or she wants. But I want to bring up a different set of cards. And it is very interesting because actually as I was when I started to begin working with tarot, one of my cards, or one of the cards that were a real problem for me, was actually the Moon card. Why was it a problem for me? It has a lot to do with illusions. So because it's not the moon that shines, it's the sun. And whenever I was making a reading, I didn't get the feel of it as being an illusion, or that I could simply cling to that idea of that is the only option I have, reading that card. And as I went along using tarot and finding my own option that I also read in other books about the moon has a lot to do with water, it has a lot to do with the rhythm on our earth and so on, the tides, and to bring really, or rather in that explanation, I ended up with a book. I ended up with a tarot deck that actually I never use, but I'm an absolute Alice in Wonderland fan. So it was only a question of time before I ended up with this book. And there was something very interesting about this book and about the version of the explanation concerning that card, which was, you see on that card, you see Alice falling down the rabbit hole, and in the book it is explained as she becomes pregnant of herself. And the idea of pregnancy in the card, for me, well, I had at that moment a friend of mine who was in such a situation. I had made a reading and I didn't have that option of the card, so I asked her again, and actually that is how it ended up to be true. It is pregnancy. And later on I read that one on Facebook pages quite often, that it maybe have something to do with pregnancy. I mean, we have the moon, we have the female cycle that is based on the moon and so on, but I will come back to that. So that let me think a little bit further. It means, what about the cards that are before and that are after the moon card? But I will even go a little bit further before. Oh no, let me start like this. The card before the moon is the seed card. I'm already saying seed card. It's the star card. And the star seems to be like a seed, you know, the seed that is necessary so that we have a pregnancy here. If you take a look at the moon card and you see the two towers, it could well be the two legs of the woman with the water in the middle. So we have the seeds. And if I go even further back, I am rarely Freudian, and I had dared using this on a Facebook page, on a tarot page, and they said, it's not all about men. But come on, a phallic symbol exploding, after which the seeds turns up, and then we have the possibility and the option of a pregnancy. And to go even further, the next card is not simply the sun, but there is a child, nearly a newborn child, a child that sees the daylight. So don't get me wrong, I am not denying the other options, or I am not saying that the other options are false. But if we're talking about the major arcana being parts of the cycle of our life, shouldn't that part be in there? So we have, let me show that again. We have the phallic symbol exploding. We have this, the star, the seed, the semen coming out of it. We have pregnancy, and we have childbirth. And I even go a step further. Please don't think that I'm only going into that direction, but I think it is an option that sometimes we should have on our minds, in our minds. This is the card before the tower, and we have naked people here. And the devil, don't forget what it means in the religious way. I'm not talking about pagan ways or other belief systems, but it was something bad, and sexuality was something bad. So maybe those 5 cards show us exactly that. So the parents to tell us that sex is something, not our parents today, but in their time, tell us that it's something evil. The woman, the young woman finding her man, and oh, that's no, you're not going a way of chastity, you are not going a good way. Ending up having sex, having sexual experiences, ending up becoming pregnant, and ending up giving birth to a child. All this does not mean that I don't think that the sun does not necessarily mean childbirth, but it always depends on the situation of the cards, on the situation the person is in, how we take a look at the cards. So maybe this is going to open up some options some people did not have in mind yet. Thank you for watching.